KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good morning, it's the Workers Beat. I'm Gene Lantz, and this is the Workers Beat program on KNON. There's so much going on that I can't even tell you about it. Tomorrow, Dallas Move On Council will host two important events: economic inequality, its causes and consequences, and how to combat it. And then the other one, that's at 2 o'clock, and the other one's Money Out of Politics, presented by Liz Wally. And that, Bonnie, Mathias, that's at your Union Hall.
Yes, it is.
At 2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock.
And what's the address?
1408 North Washington.
1408 North Washington at 2 o'clock.
75204. It's we are on the corner of Bryan and Washington.
Okay, and those are free.
Yes.
Those are educational experiences about the economy and about politics.
That's right.
Presented by the Move On people. Now on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, they're going to have a little rally outside the offices of Senator Ted Cruz.
When is that?
Getting very, very popular, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's kind of outspoken on his side. I guess you have to give him credit for that.
I guess.
At 10 o'clock on Thursday, February 21st, at Senator Ted Cruz's Dallas office, which is at 10440 North Central Expressway, Suite 1160. So we'll be outside, I guess. 10440 North Central Expressway at 10 o'clock on Thursday. The telephone number for that, if you're interested in following up, is 214-729-0063. That's Judy Bryant from the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans, 214-729-0063. On the 24th of February, there'll be a March for Immigrant Rights in Austin, put on by the Reform Immigration for Texas Alliance, and most people just call that RITA. And I have a telephone number for RITA, 915-253-2262. On the 1st of March, thunder is supposed to hit in Washington, D.C., and there's supposed to be gigantic cuts. Some people say it's going to start a new recession. Anyway, it's going to be a big deal. You wouldn't get all that if you weren't listening to KNON, because the other stations don't care what the people are doing and people's activities. So KNON invites you to help us stay on the air by calling us at 972-647-1893. Please send a pledge. Now, I'm not going to beg. I'm too conservative for that. Well, all right, I'll beg. I'm begging. I'm groveling here.
Gene Lantz and conservative in the same sentence is not even compute.
972-647-1893. I'm begging you to please help us stay on the air. Keep KNON on the air and keep the Workers Beat on the air. You do that by calling, making a pledge at 972-647-1893. Or you can just send money to the post office box if you want to. Box 710909, Dallas, Texas 75371. Or you can come by here and drop the money off.
That's right.
5353 Maple at Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can get on the
KNON.org.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do after you get on KNON.org?
You can pledge, and don't forget to put that you're pledging for the Workers Beat.
Yeah, you have to actually fib a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to say it's your favorite program.
That's right.
That's what they ask you, what's your favorite program. So you say Workers Beat, and that way we get credit.
And we get credit, that's right. And you can do, we have a bank draft that you can set up on.
They just call and do that, right?
Yeah, they can call and Annie can get that set up for them. It's great.
What's the number?
972-647-1893. 1893. And, I called in last week while I was on the road.
I know. You got to talk to Annie.
I did.
How was that?
Annie's great. She's awesome.
People tell me that they're getting quite a bit of satisfaction just from talking to Annie.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, that's maybe why we did so well last week. So people call
good.
this week. And
Annie's got the phones again.
And we will certainly take your pledge. But we have a special treat today because since this is KNON, the Workers Beat program, we're interested in what you're interested in and what's going to help you. So we brought in today two experts from the Dallas Area Interfaith, Gwen and Barry. Good morning, Gwen and Barry.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Tell us about DAI.
Well, Dallas Area Interfaith is an organization of mostly churches and schools. There's about 50 in Dallas and Collin County. We are multi-issue, multi-religious, multi-ethnic organization. We are nonpartisan. We don't ever endorse a candidate or a party. We come up with our issues through small group and individual conversations where we talk about the problems that our families have, and from those conversations we come up with issues that we think we can make a difference on. About several years ago we had over 3,000 conversations with people in our organization, and they all said that health care was a real problem, affordability and accessibility. And so we have been working on ways to help people access health care more. And what we're working on now is the Medicaid expansion portion of the Affordable Care Act, because our governor has said that Texas is not going to participate. So last November we kicked off a petition drive. We'd love for all of you to go to our website and sign the petition to tell our governor and elected officials that we want Texas to opt into the Medicaid expansions, and that's at DallasAreaInterfaith.org, and that's FAITH, Dallas Area Interfaith.
It's all one word.
Yes.
Dallas Area Interfaith.
Okay, Barry, tell us, why do people care? Why should we care about the expansion of Medicaid in Texas?
Well, I think that the thing that we need to all realize is that the Medicaid expansion affects and helps all of us, regardless of whether we are eligible for Medicaid, whether we're uninsured, or whether we're presently on Medicaid. It's for all of us, because the burden of the uninsured in Dallas is such that our healthcare system is in danger of collapse. 1 out of every 3 adults in the Dallas area is uninsured. We have the second highest number of uninsured of any city in the country. Texas has the highest number and percentage of uninsured children in the country. To be a non-disabled adult and get onto Medicaid to get coverage in Texas, you need to make, if you make slightly over $4,000 a year, you're not eligible. So there are no...
wait a minute. Whoa. Yeah. Over $4,000 a year?
Yeah.
For
a family of 3.
What does that come out to for a week? Or a month?
13 cents?
Well, it's a little bit more than that, but it's less than $100 a week.
Less than $100 a week. And if you make more than that, then you don't qualify.
That's right.
So it's you go to the emergency room, and that's why everybody's in the emergency room. That's why you almost can't get emergency care in Dallas County. That's why you have to wait sometimes all night or all day to try to get emergency care in Dallas County, because there's so many people uninsured. If they can't help it, it's not their fault. But the governor could help it.
Exactly.
What's the governor's position been?
The governor's position has been to do the Nancy Reagan and just say no.
and not do it.
That's correct.
He's just saying no, and of course his excuse is that it's going to cost the state a bunch of money. Is that not true?
That is true, but he does not really look at the savings in terms of tax dollars that we're now paying out at the county level, because the county provides funds through the ad valorem tax rate, the hospital district tax in many counties, and all counties are obligated to pay for the indigent, as they call them. In some counties, it's more generous than in others.
Now, Gwen, wasn't the federal government going to pay for this anyway?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Our federal taxes are going to are supporting this program, whether Texas participates in it or not. So the governor's just saying we don't send our money back to us, send it somewhere else.
So
but it's our those are our tax dollars.
Our federal
for
money
Medicaid.
would pay for this, especially in the first couple of years.
3 years, it's 100% federally paid. After that, it's no less than 90%.
So generally speaking, federal government's going to pick up the bill.
Yeah.
Nine at the end of it, when it phases down, what is it, 2020, Gwen? That it goes down to 90%. But when it hits 90%, 9 out of every $10 is still from the federal government. But remember that that's money that we as taxpayers have paid in. So all we'd be doing is getting back what we're already paying in. Because Texas has such a high uninsured rate and adults are so poorly covered, Texas as a state stands to benefit the most from the from taking the federal dollars.
And when that federal money comes in, it tends to generate other money, doesn't it? In other words, if poor people had some money, they would spend it, and the economy might take off.
There are two studies. One is Ray Perryman. He's a really respected economist. There's Billy, what is his, I can't remember.
Thompson, isn't it?
He's a former, worked in the comptroller's office. They've both done reports on this that show that the savings from doing this would actually more than pay for
I wonder if our
10%.
listeners out there that would like to call and make a pledge might also want to say something about how much, whether or not they know people that are uninsured, whether or not they've ever had an experience in the emergency room where they had to wait forever to try to get emergency care. 972-647.
Let me try that again.
You better do it, Bonnie.
972-647-1893.
Call us and make a pledge, or sit down at your computer and go to knon.org and tell them that Workers Beat is your favorite program. You know, we're not just kidding about this. KNON takes programs off. I think they took 8 programs off.
Nine programs. Yep.
9 programs last year that didn't perform during the fund drive. They couldn't prove that people were listening and that people cared, that they wanted to know things like we have today, knowing what the Dallas area interfaith is doing about the crunch in the emergency rooms and the fact that the governor does not want to take federal money for a program that would cover a whole bunch more people for insurance. Barry, how many people would get covered if the governor would give in on this and start letting the federal money flow into Texas?
In Dallas County, it would be 80% of the uninsured in Dallas County would qualify for Medicaid under this. That's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's 1.4 million people.
Right in Dallas-Fort Worth. For the total of Texas, do you have any idea how many it would be? Because I saw 1.8 million when they first started talking about this, but I haven't seen any numbers lately as to how many how many people would be insured and would not be crowding into the emergency room if the governor wanted to do this.
I think your figure of 1.8 million who would sign up, that's not the number of eligible, that's the number of people who are estimated would sign up, so come off the uninsured rolls. In Texas, you're correct. That's about I think about a third of the uninsured right now in Texas.
So Texas would then not be, maybe we wouldn't be the very bottom on the number of uninsured, because right now we've got the largest number and the largest percentage of people that are uninsured. One of the most shameful statistics that this state has, and a state that's got a lot of shameful statistics. But I want to defend the governor. Bonnie, I'm going to defend Governor Perry on this because I have figured out what he's thinking. He said it would cost too much money and not give us enough money. The trick is to figure out who he means by us. He means him and the other rich people.
Okay, that's what
he's afraid it might cost the rich people something, and that the rich people would not get something from it, because he's got all these other funds that he doles out to his campaign contributors and doles out to rich people all the time. So when he says us, he don't mean you.
No.
He don't mean you and him. No. He means him and the other rich people.
That's right.
But the governor's wrong about that. According to the figures in the Perryman study, we're talking about an infusion of $580 million into Dallas County and 10,000 jobs.
Every year.
Every year.
That money would be for
Every year.
Yeah.
Those 10,000 people who are employed are going to be spending money in Walmart, buying gas, and buying groceries, and all of those things which people do to live. And that, instead of trickle down, this is trickle up.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that works.
And they'd be paying taxes too. I mean,
Exactly.
paying taxes.
They have more money, they spend more money, they pay more taxes, which is the trickle.
So even the rich people would benefit, you're saying?
Well, not only that, but the richest of us is under duress. One of the reasons that the Dallas-Fort Worth Hospital Council and the Hospital Association of Texas and the Texas Medical Association support Medicaid expansion is because our present network is under threat, because the burden, who's paying for those uninsured? Well, if they go into Parkland, then the county taxpayers are paying for it. But if they go into Baylor or Presbyterian, that money has to come from somewhere, and those systems are in danger of collapse because we just have too many uninsured here. When those people go and they seek care, they're not seeking care for simple things like colds and so on most of the time.
Oh, no.
They've become very sick, and therefore the cost of caring for them goes up. So it's a waste of dollars.
Isn't it also true, Gwen, that if you don't take care of people before they get all that terribly sick, that it's going to cost a lot more in the long run?
Going to the emergency room is the most inefficient, the most expensive way for people to get health care. And, I think Governor Perry is a good businessman. He's been out there in California talking to businesses about relocating to Texas. Well, he should think about when those businessmen look at Texas and they think, they have the highest number of uninsured people. Those people haven't been able to go to the doctor. Our medical care costs, if we relocated our business there, we'd be paying a lot of money for them. So I think Governor Perry will come to realize that it's the best interest of all the people and for the Texas economy for people to get health care. Primary health care.
You're certainly going to bring it to his attention as much as you can, and so are we on KNON. Let's put Michael on the phone because he just made a pledge. Thanks for making a pledge, Michael, and thanks for calling KNON.
Yes, sir. I'd like to know where we're going in Texas. I know Rick Perry is not the best governor we have ever had. I want to know where we're going with the Boy Scouts and all this gay stuff. We don't want that in Texas.
Uh-huh.
And then whoever runs for your office or committee, they started a little bit too late, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're making a lot of sense to me, Michael, and we appreciate that. Let's see what people from Dallas area interfaith want to respond. Is this issue a Christian issue? You're a Christian group.
Well, we're not a Christian group. We're an interfaith group. I'm Jewish, so it's obviously not completely a Christian group. But it is a moral and religious issue. And we want to point out that the Medicaid expansion is supported by the National Catholic Bishops, and the Archdiocese of Dallas has come out in favor. They've pointed out that this is not an issue which is about the issues which they object to in the Affordable Care Act, that this really is an issue, and speaking as a Jew, I don't know if I can do this, but that this is an issue about Jesus' mission. In the Jewish faith, we have the concept of tzedakah. Maimonides, one of our great sages, have said there are 8 levels of charity. The highest level of charity is when you enable a person to help himself. By making a person healthy enough to be able to work, you're fulfilling the highest level of Maimonides' level of charity. And then finally, in Islam, one of the 3 pillars of the Islamic faith is sadaq, or charity.
Mm-hmm. So it's a moral issue. We appreciate Michael for bringing that up and also for making a pledge to KNON. You can make a pledge at 972-647-1893, and we'll be right back. You can call during the break.
Yes.
972-647-1893.
Well, I got to work this morning. Community radio provides the kind of programming you won't find anywhere else on the dial. Nowhere else can you find such a variety of formats and personalities in North Texas as KNON. But this is only possible through the support of our listeners. KNON depends on listener support to stay on the air. Now is the time for you to help keep this show on the air. This pledge drive will continue until the station reaches its goal. If you're waiting out the pledge drive, you might be waiting out the existence of this show on KNON too. So don't wait for someone else to do it. Without the support of the people like you, there wouldn't be any community radio on the air in North Texas. So take a few minutes and make a pledge. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
Would you help the words that burn?
This is Sonny Boy Mark, and I'd like to take a minute here to tell you about over 60 minutes of great blues listening available now on KNON's Texas Blues Radio Volume 5 Blues CD. This is some great stuff, folks. 15 tracks from the Two-Tones, Blues Boy Bo, Buddy Whittington, Andrea Dawson, Kirkland James, Sonny Colley, Johnny Red and the Roosters, the Chris Watson Band, the Rough Cut Blues Band, Jeff Stone with Charlie Love, David Millsap, Sir Loin and the Ass-Kicking Machine, Michael J. and the Paul Bird Band, and JJ and the Detonators. The 1,000 copies we made are selling fast, and we won't reissue it. Get yours now at Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Record Town in Fort Worth, and in Dallas at Bill's Records and Rewind Music. The CD is available as a download at cdbaby.com. All proceeds benefit KNON, sponsored by Forever Young Records. Vinyl copies available at Forever Young Records only. For more info on Texas Blues Radio Volume 5, visit knon.org. Your ears been bending for some blues? Well, feed them the real thing with Texas Blues Radio Volume 5.
This is William, your videographer for the KNON talk shows. You can watch Workers Beat by going to knon.org website. Click on schedules to the left side of your screen. Choose Workers Beat's page. Scroll to the bottom of the page, then choose your favorite show to watch or download. This show will be ready for viewing by lunchtime Tuesday. Have a great day.
Blue Monday, how are you, Blue Monday?
Got to work like a slave all day. You're on the Workers Beat. I'm Gene Lantz. 972-647-1893 is the number. We are begging you to make a pledge to keep KNON on the air and to keep Workers Beat a part of it. We've been a part of it. Yes. I really think since it started. I think there's been a Workers Beat program on pretty much all the time since they started over 25 years ago, serving the community in North Texas.
That's right.
And Workers Beat's always been part of it because KNON's always been committed to ordinary working people and always tried to help ordinary working people. We are wearing our hoodies today and looking scary because you can get a hoodie for a $75 bonus, a $75 contribution, and the hoodie is a bonus that you get.
That's right.
Let's put Judy on. She just called and made a pledge. Cool. Thanks for calling, Judy.
Hello.
Good morning. You're on.
Yes, good morning. I'm enjoying listening to this conversation about our governor taking the Medicaid money. And I'm the field organizer for Texas Alliance for Retired Americans. And we just took 1,000 signatures to the governor regarding accepting Medicaid this last Tuesday. And we have a very important action that I'd like to invite all your Workers Beat listeners to join us for next Thursday. Is this okay if I tell them about it?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cost anything.
Okay, no, it doesn't cost anything. We are going to assemble in front of Senator Ted Cruz's Dallas office and ask him to have a heart to not make any cuts in Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid on the federal level. And that's going to be Thursday, February 21st at 10 a.m. at Senator Ted Cruz's Dallas office. The address is 10440 North Central Expressway. It's the Meadow Park Tower just past Meadow Road on the access road.
Judy, you want to give out your phone number in case people have other questions?
Yes, it's 214-729-0063.
Mm-hmm. You know, we could sing that song from The Wizard of Oz about having a heart. Maybe we could just change that a little bit, you know, if you only had a heart.
I somehow imagine that Mr. Lantz could come up with a song before Thursday. That would be great.
Somehow I think you're right, Judy.
I believe so, too. I think that would be absolutely great. But we'd like for anyone to come join us. We'll meet in front in the parking lot at 10 a.m. Thursday the 21st. And thank you all, and thanks to the folks from Interfaith, too, for what they're doing, because we have to all work together and try to urge our governor to take what's right for our citizens of our state.
Thanks so much. That's Judy Bryant from, and your phone number, again, was 214, go ahead.
729-0063.
Okay, and that's for an action on Thursday concerning Senator Ted Cruz. He's new. I guess you could think of him as virginal. He's never been picketed, so.
Oh, this will be a first.
Well,
I'm
I bet it will be, and he's been very vocal for a freshman senator, and none of it that's in favor of working families. So that's why we need everybody to show up and make our voice heard.
Okay, thanks so much, Judy Bryant.
Thank you.
Getting back to the Dallas area interfaith now and the struggle to expand Medicaid in Texas. We have Gwen and Barry from the Dallas area interfaith. You told us this is a big organization, churches and schools, but it's not. We wouldn't just say churches because you have to add synagogues and mosques, because it's, as Barry just corrected me a while ago, this is all faiths. But it's very much of a moral issue to try to get the governor to unclench his fists a little bit and unclench the state purse a little bit and have this expansion. Go ahead, Gwen.
We've been working with the Dallas County Commissioners Court, especially Judge Jenkins. We helped craft a resolution in support of Medicaid expansion for the whole state, and they passed that last Tuesday at their regular Commissioners Court meeting.
Mm-hmm.
The Austin City Council just passed such a resolution. The El Paso County has passed one. The resolutions are being presented by our sister organizations across Texas in Harris County, Bexar County, and I believe in Travis County.
You have some idea
McClellan County also.
What do the resolutions actually say?
It's long.
Yeah, it's really long.
It has lots of whereases and it's therefore. But calling on the governor and our elected legislators to work with and the county commissioners to work for a solution to bring about the Medicaid expansion in Texas. And as I say, we are also going to present our petitions. We're going down to Austin on February 20th for a press conference, and then where there's a big rally on March the 5th in Austin. Yay. And a lot of organizations are going to be involved in that. There's going to be a march and a big rally. And people can go to our website and find out more about that and sign our petition. It's DallasAreaInterfaith.org.
Mm-hmm. Is there a phone number or anything?
Yes, I have the phone number for Dallas Area Interfaith is 214-689-5988.
Now, not everybody is poor enough to get Medicaid, but everybody ought to be caring. Isn't that true, Barry?
Yes, health insurance is your best, having insurance and coverage is your best way to avoid a catastrophic loss. If you get sick and you wind up in the hospital, one of three things will happen. One is that if you're sick enough, you may die. The second is that if you, and even then your hospital bill follows you to the grave. And either the hospital has to write off the costs, which means they have less money to spend on other things, or they come after you for the money, and medical bills are the biggest reasons for bankruptcy in the United States.
Is that a fact?
Yes.
Medical bills are the biggest reason for bankruptcy.
Yep.
That's atrocious.
Because sometimes even if you have insurance, it's inadequate.
That's right.
And
You're underinsured.
You have a big deductible, or it doesn't cover something, and you could still have big medical bills even if you have insurance.
What about this too? If a child can't get care for an illness, he or she is liable to be impaired for the rest of their life, and may never be able to contribute to society. May grow up, not as smart as they could have been, for example, or not as physically able as they could have been, and we've robbed them of a significant part of their life.
That's right.
One of the stereotypes about the uninsured, which those who are uninsured know is true, is that those are people who don't work. Actually, those are people who, most of the uninsured, almost all the uninsured, are people who work very hard, and and they try, but they just do not have access or cannot afford coverage. I have a personal story about from my personal life about the fact of being uninsured. I have a son. My son is a TV news person. He works as a reporter. He has psoriasis, and his copayment every month is $384, and for his medicine. And there is no way that he, on the salary that he makes, could afford that. It's basically, as we call it, the bank of dad. And I wonder what happens to all the people who don't have the bank of dad, who are not fortunate enough to have a father who can, pick up the slack. That's what's going on right now, and that's why we need universal coverage.
That's most people that don't have a bank of dad.
Yeah, that's most people. You're right. Every time I think about this issue and Governor Fancy Hair sitting in the governor's mansion and professing to be a Christian, I'm a Christian, and whatever Bible he's reading, that it's not the same one that I'm familiar with. I believe we're supposed to take care of each other. We're supposed to take care of the least of us, children, widows, animals. I mean, that's our job. It's very disturbing. When you look in the Old Testament scripture, and I'm certainly being Jewish, not an expert on New Testament, the most often repeated commandment is to welcome the stranger, followed closely by the duty to care for the poor or for those who do not. So the whole idea of looking out for other people is an idea which has its roots in the Old Testament, but carries over certainly into the lessons in the New Testament.
So it doesn't just say you should take care of your campaign supporters.
That's not in there at all. I've looked for it.
Well, you said possibly Governor Perry has a different Bible.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking he must.
They say, blessed are the campaign donators, and blessed are the billionaires, or something like that.
It could be.
Could be that there's a little bit difference in what he's reading and what you're reading.
I think it's also easy to look at this issue as a partisan issue, and it isn't. No. In a conversation that I had with a Republican legislator, this legislator pointed out that when in campaigning for re-election, the legislator went door to door meeting people, and the most often reported issue that people wanted to talk to this legislator about, regardless of whether they're rich or poor, whatever their religion, what they wanted to talk about was access and affordability of health care. And her comment was that this is really not a partisan issue. If you read carefully the statements by people like Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst, Jane Nelson, Senator Jane Nelson, Representative John Zerwas, who is a physician, they are at this point saying we do not want to do the Medicaid expansion as is written in the Act. They're not saying they don't want to do a Medicaid expansion, and each one of the statements that they have made contains something about unless we can find some flexibility in the federal government. So it's not that they're opposing the idea of Medicaid expansion. They are worried about the financial viability of the Medicaid system in Texas. Which
is pretty rocky, pretty scary prospect, especially when they're talking about actually cutting taxes again. Let's get out the phone number, though, Bonnie, because
yes.
we got
it is pledge drive. Okay,
got to make sure we stay here to be able to announce things like this.
And we do want to thank the two people that called in and gave us pledges. I think that's Michael and Judy. All right, thank you so much. We do appreciate that. Now we need somebody else to call. 972-647-1893. You can go online, knon.org. You can call. We can get you set up on a bank draft. I've had a bank draft from KNON for at least 21, 22 years, probably, way before I knew about the Workers' Beat. And we like to think that you're listening for information, and you're not going to get information like this anywhere else but right here on KNON.
Because the rest of the stations, frankly, don't care. They're kind of lined up with the governor.
Pretty much. Well, they're mostly owned by large corporations.
So is the governor.
Why, yes, he is. I wonder who sponsors his hair. I think that NASCAR has the right idea, right? Everybody has the corporate logos on their cars, so you know who's paying.
Right.
Well, I think that congressmen and politicians in general should have to wear T-shirts or stickers on their clothing so that we know who is paying them, who's sponsoring them. Mm-hmm. Yes. Don't you think that's a great idea? I think it'd be hysterical.
The governor could definitely get off of this Medicaid.
There were some people who would have no room on
I know, they'd have to, they'd like be covered from head to toe with stickers.
Now, Gwen, how did...
we like to say that we don't have any permanent friends or permanent enemies. We want to be able to work with all of our elected officials.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes they'll work on you on one issue and then they're against you on another issue. So we're nonpartisan. But there's a couple of other things that Dallas Area Interfaith has done that kind of tie into the whole medical care issue. We've spun off two other organizations. One of them is the Durable Medical Equipment Exchange, where we basically recycle used durable medical equipment like walkers and crutches and wheelchairs and take it and refurbish it, sanitize it, and then make it available to people who have a prescription from their doctor but can't afford, don't have insurance or can't afford to pay for their walker. Like they've had hip surgery or had a fall or something. They need that walker to get out of the hospital.
Right.
And a lot of times they can't afford it. So we started that, and then we've also started a workforce program called SkillQuest, and a lot of the people that we've been training have been in the medical field, and it's a long-term workforce program where you either get an associate's degree or certification, and you get lots of support. We get tuition, books. We help if it needed with transportation and child care. Have support groups that you're required to go to, and it's been very successful. There have been programs like it for many years in El Paso and Austin and San Antonio. It has 85% success rate.
That's awesome.
And so those are two things. You can Google SkillQuest Dallas and find out about that, and then the website for DFW or the Medical Equipment Exchange is DFWDMEexchange.org. And then also you can go, if you want to sign our petition to tell the governor we want Medicaid expansion, be sure and go to our website, DallasAreaInterfaith.org.
Yeah, and you can sign petitions and that sort of thing. Let me make an announcement from the Communication Workers of America, because Mike Gross called me yesterday from the Communication Workers, and he said that they're going to be hiring out at Alliance Airport at a new plant. They're going to be hiring skilled workers as machinists and that sort of thing, people that can work with metal.
Excellent.
Because they're going to be building railroad locomotives, and this is General Electric, and you can call Mike Gross.
That's right.
if you're interested in going to work out there, his number is 512-330-0875. 512-330-0875.
And I think those that's going to be a really good job. And I think there's going to be
union.
Yes. I also think there may be some chance for apprenticeships if we can get organized.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Worker who's leaning on a bended knee, soiled and tattered in search of relief, fighting for some unspoken belief.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables, including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as materials like TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballast, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com. On July 25, 2005, KNON was granted a license by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest as a public trustee until August 1, 2013. Our license will expire on August 1, 2013. We must file an application for license renewal with the FCC on April 1, 2013. When filed, a copy of this application will be available for inspection during regular business hours. It contains information concerning the station's performance over the last 8 years. Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts relating to our renewal application and whether this station has operated in public interest should file comments and petitions with the FCC by July 1, 2013. Further information concerning the FCC's broadcast license renewal process is available at KNON 5353 Maple Avenue or may be obtained from the FCC, Washington, D.C., 20554 or www.fcc.gov.
I wake up in the morning at 4:45. The alarm clock is relentless.
We're back on the Workers Beat. 972-647-1893 is the number. We're begging you to call and make a pledge. We appreciate the ones that have already.
Yes,
well, thanks Sylvia for calling last week.
Yeah.
Because she's made a pledge several times and never got on the air.
That's right. We thank her.
Sylvia called. Be sure and get her on the air. I'd like to talk with her.
Absolutely.
214. What is it? 972?
972. And how long have you been doing this again? Never mind. 972-647-1893.
That's the exact problem. We've been doing it so long.
No, we don't know.
My brain has faded.
Yes. I fully understand that as we get older, the reason why we can't remember things is because we have so much stuff in our brains that some stuff falls out.
Okay,
that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Now, the Walmart people are asking for help again because the Walmart management is telling people that there is no more our Walmart. They're telling people that our Walmart is gone and that if you bring it up, we're liable to fire you.
What?
So they're intimidating the Walmart employees. Our Walmart is not gone, brothers and sisters.
No.
In fact, they're adding new members all the time. And you can expect them to see them on the streets before long. We tried to organize a march at the Job of Justice meeting on Wednesday. We decided we needed more discussion because what we want to do is try to solve the problem of why it is church congregations and unions generally won't march with anybody else. They'll call their own marches and do their own activities, but not with anybody else. And we can't just sit and blame each other. We need to start figuring out what is the problem. Because I've got a list of activities right now. We got up to March the 3rd already, and then Sister Gwen mentioned that March the 5th in Austin there'll be a march supporting Medicaid expansion.
A lot of groups going to go to that. Lots and lots of groups.
On March the 6th, the Farm Labor Organizing Committee is asking for help. They're going to be talking to the 7-Eleven management about the way tobacco workers are treated in North Carolina, and they're asking for help. The Mayor Rollins March Against Abuse will be on March the 23rd, and on April the 6th will be Cesar Chavez's birthday celebrations, and it goes on. And yet, we don't see people working together to the extent that we think they ought to.
Right.
And we don't exactly know why. So we feel that we have to have a larger discussion among more and more groups, and maybe even do. Rosemary Rieger came up with a good idea. She said, let's do a survey and ask people what they think is the problem. Why is it that when we have an event like the April 26th event is going to be about the Bush think tank that's going to be put in at SMU. There's going to be a big protest about
on
that.
April the 26th?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I believe it's April. Well, it's kind of the period, April 25th through 27th. They're going to do several events.
Oh, boy.
But the thing is, how do we broaden that from just those of us who are willing to go to almost anything, and like you and me, Bonnie, and
don't say it like that, Gene. That sounds so bad.
out to larger groups of people.
Well, I think that we're headed in the right direction. I really do. I see Dallas Interfaith and TOP stood together in front of the County Commissioner's Court on Tuesday.
That was good.
That's Texas Organizing Project.
And City Square was
and
there.
City Square. We've got a Alliance for Retired Americans. We've got our RMC, which is the Retired Members Council of the Communication Workers. I am I'm getting more and more feedback from AFL-CIO CLC members, affiliates that want to all work together because we're all asking for the same things.
And the CLC, of course, is Central Labor Council.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to make a report at the next Central Labor Council just on this, just asking, people to give their 2 cents as to why we're not working together as much as we think we could, because there is definitely an emergency.
Absolutely.
There's an emergency in healthcare, and Gwen and Barry are here to talk about it. Gwen and Barry, you want to jump in?
I think that, it's important around one of the good things, a crisis tends to bring out people's feelings and emotions, and around this Medicaid expansion, I think that there are a lot of people who realize that the refusal to opt in is bringing to fore a hidden crisis, the crisis of the uninsured in Texas. And therefore, you have people and organizations beginning to work together. You pointed out rightly that Dallas area interfaith may have been the focus, but that there were other people who were involved when we went to the Commissioner's Court. The same thing is true of the March the 5th rally at the Capitol. The Children's Defense Fund, the social workers are involved. We have religious organizations coming out. The Catholic Church has been very supportive. The board of Temple Emmanuel in Dallas voted unanimously to support Medicaid expansion. This goes far beyond religious bounds. It's a matter for all of us and the needs that all of us have for health care.
And you're going to Austin on when and how? What's the details on that? Can other people go?
The March 5th rally, we're getting take 2 buses, I believe, is how many we can have, up to 100 people. If anybody's interested, they can call the DAI office. We are going down on February 20th for a press conference and to visit our legislators. But that's something people can do. They can call their representatives and tell them what they think. A lot of times representatives, they only hear from their supporters, and they think that there's nobody else out there that cares. So you need to let them know that you care about this issue.
Can you call the governor?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. You can go on the website for the state of Texas. You can find out if you don't know who your representative is, you can find out. Call them, send them an email, write them a letter.
Anything. Anything.
Let them know.
Tell me some more about this March 5th march. Who's called it and who's going to be in on it? Did you call it?
I know that one of the organizers is, I won't say the name of the organization right, but it's the Texans with Disabilities, or the
Oh.
It's like AC. I'm
Is it
sorry.
ADAPT?
Yeah.
Is it ADAPT?
It's
Yeah.
ADAPT, yes. ADAPT is involved.
ADAPT started
It's
out
one
as
of
a group for handicap,
Yes.
Right.
based on
Right.
anybody that was handed the A is anyway, it has handicapped in there somewhere.
But
And
there's
very
a-
effective group.
The D is for disabled.
Disabled,
Yeah, there's a long list of people who are supporting it, or organizations who are supporting it, and are going to be down there.
And among them is
one
gonna
of
be
them is
you.
Dallas Area Interfaith. Yes, we're going to be speaking at the rally. So come on down. And
If people want to
and
get
help
on
us.
that bus, they call this number 214-689-5988. Is that right?
Let me make one more plug for, although what we're doing is a press conference on the 20th that Dallas Area Interfaith is doing. One of the things that I'm going to be doing that day is taking one of the physicians who I know saw the article about Dallas Area Interfaith and the rally that we had at Christ Foundry Methodist Church in favor of the Medicaid expansion. Is a physician who practices in the inner city area here in Dallas, Dr. Brown, and he called me up and thanked me because he saw my name in the article for standing up for his patients. And that really gave me an idea, and the idea is that we should take some of the physicians who actually care for people who are underserved in Dallas and talk to legislators. So I have one more seat left in my car if there's a physician or health professional who wants to go down and talk about Medicaid expansion. We're driving down to allow more people to go on the bus.
That's February 20th.
On the 20th.
That's next
this
Wednesday. That's
yes.
right, this coming Wednesday.
But if you're listening and if you're a physician who wants to go down and talk about Medicaid expansion, you're free to join us.
And we will be collecting signatures on the petition all through the legislative session. So we'll be presenting the petitions that we have every time we go down there and meet with legislators.
That is great.
Yeah, it's important to realize, two more comments. I think it's important to realize that this act of gathering the signatures is really important. We're not just doing it here in Dallas. We have, what, Gwen, over 3,000 signatures now?
Yes, and some of our congregations have just started collecting signatures.
Right, but statewide, there are more than 10,000 that have been collected because our sister organizations in other cities. This is not Dallas against the world. It's the citizens of Texas against those people who will not countenance the idea of Medicaid expansion.
The Texas Alliance for Retired Americans is gathering signatures too. Let's put Kenneth on from Move On. Thanks for calling, Kenneth.
Hey, how you doing, Gene?
Good. Glad to hear from you, brother. Y'all doing anything?
Oh yeah, we're doing. We got a couple of things going on. We're going to do a teach-in on economic inequality tomorrow. We're going to be down at the CWA Hall, and that's at 2 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday. And in addition to that, at 4:30 tomorrow, we're going to do another teach-in on getting money out of politics. Liz Wally is going to do that one, and so we're going to be doing one on getting money out of politics, and that's going to be in La Madeleine.
That'll be at the La Madeleine restaurant?
Yes.
Because I thought they were both at the CWA Hall.
Me too.
Well, hold on a minute.
Can't wait a minute.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to open the hall at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, the hall at 2 o'clock. That's going to be me with economic inequality.
Okay.
But the other one, on the website, it says La Madeleine for the one at 4:30 p.m. on getting money out of politics.
Okay.
Okay. Well, where's the La Madeleine?
On Lemon, I
this
believe.
one is over at Lemon and Oak Lawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
3906 Lemon Avenue.
Okay, so that's at 4:30.
That's at 4:30 p.m. Wow, I'm glad I called.
Me too.
All right. Thanks for straightening us out on that, Kenneth. And we're always glad to hear from you.
Sure.
Now let's get it back to the Dallas Area Interfaith.
This whole conversation about Medicaid expansion is really part of a whole larger thing about what we want our state to be. Our economy is second only to California's. We have a huge economy, but we spend less per person than any other state.
To help people.
Yes, and we could cover 1 million and have to 2 million people with this Medicaid expansion. And it's just immoral that with a state as wealthy as Texas, we're not going to do it.
Well, do you think we're really not going to do it, or do you just think the governor doesn't want to do it?
I think the governor just doesn't want to do it.
I think we will. Yeah,
I think we'll.
To me, it's not a question of can't, it's won't.
There's a bill.
We need to change their mind. We need to change their mind.
Representative Eric Johnson, bless his heart, has brought up a bill to expand Medicaid, and I believe there's another sponsor in the Senate.
Excellent.
We went to Eric Johnson's office last week to thank him, and I hope you'll do the same when you go down on the 20th, because he's got a bill to bring this up. Are we going to lose this one?
No.
No.
We can't. We absolutely can't lose this one.
Mm-hmm. Well,
There's
we'll win
stake.
if we can get enough people behind us.
We can't afford to for the money. We can't afford to for the lives involved.
That's right.
Sign the petition, call your representatives, tell them what you think.
Get involved.
Just to plug for getting involved, when shortly after I came to Texas about 11 years ago, I was asked if I would go down and talk to legislators, and I wanted to know if I could get speech therapy, so I sounded like a Texan. But I did it, and I had never done that before. And that's not fair. I had done it one other time in Washington, and I was surprised at how much easier it was to sit down and talk about the things that concerned you with legislators and legislative aides, and how receptive they were to listening, much more than I had anticipated. I really had the stereotype that these were people who were off there. The reality is you don't run for office unless you want to do some good for people. We may not always agree with the perception that legislators have of what's good for people, right. But I've honestly come to believe that everybody who runs the office does it with good intentions. The problem often is what they're trying to promote, and they often need to hear different. Mm-hmm. I heard one legislator talk who was elected to the state house from Hunt County. And he was a Tea Party person. He was elected with Tea Party support. And in this talk, he said a really, really striking thing. He said, I never realized until I sat in the seat and tried to cut. I was elected with the idea I was going to cut taxes. That's what people elected me to do. And I never realized how hard it is to cut in Texas. The reason it's hard to cut is because, you can't cut to the bone when you're already at the bone.
You're at the bone. Because we have one of the lowest tax rates in the whole country. And I think we're 50th in spending for health care. We're 46th in spending for education. Governor Perry is out in California asking corporations to come here, to spin off and come here to set up business. They don't want to come here if your citizens are uneducated and not well.
So, we would like to move our headquarters there because we'll make a lot more money. However, we can't get any of our employees to go.
That's right. Nobody wants to go, and we don't have anybody there that we could hire.
I said Governor Perry, and Bonnie kicked the table.
Sorry, I know, right? Oh, I broke my shin, but I'm good.
All right. Well, Barry and Gwen, we better wrap up pretty soon. So make your point. I know you've already said that it's moral that we support the expansion of Medicaid, but also it's just good business.
It makes good sense. It makes good business sense, and it makes good sense in terms of the public good. Health care is a public utility. People who aren't healthy can't work, and they don't have money to buy the things that they need to survive. We need the Medicaid expansion in Texas. Please join us. Sign the petition at supporting Medicaid expansion at DallasAreaInterfaith.org.
Okay, and Gwen?
Yes, it'll be a boon to the economy. It'll be a job creator. It will help millions of Texans get healthy.
That's right.
We have to get out of the way so Jim Schutz can come in and enlighten us. You can make a pledge anytime. It doesn't have to be while we're on the air. Just call KNON 972-647-1893. Tell a little fib and tell them Workers Beat's your favorite program.
That's right.
We'll be able to stay on. Thanks so much.
See you next week.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.